In this video, we're going to have a little thought experiment about empathy. Of all movies that kind of got me to think about this topic, I somehow came across Ted 2. I was sick the last 4 days from, you can guess why, maybe if you watch my videos. But whatever, I was sick and I watched Ted 2, and there's a scene where the lawyer, and they're fighting over if Ted is a human or not, or if he's property. And the argument the lawyer makes is that what makes up a human is empathy. And it was interesting. I watched that and I was just like, the world is so messed up now that I'm just like, oh, I didn't even, yeah, I guess that is kind of like, it is kind of that simple. If you have no empathy, that's, I guess, the reason for this video is, and it's a thought experiment, I guess, is a person without empathy? I just, I've been around a lot of this lately, and just selfishness, narcissism, I think psychopathy. If you watch my videos, it's a familial thing. That's the reason I'm doing these videos. I'm trying to shed some light on some ideas, not to blame anyone. That takes away your power, but to understand, and that's how you can heal and understand and have boundaries from certain people that are, at the end of the day, unempathetic or lack actual empathy. And that's why these people are dangerous, because if you can't empathize with other people, it's on the spectrum of empathy. If you have absolutely no empathy, you're capable of unbelievable harm to others, just because it's not even like a conscious thing, although sometimes it does manifest that way. If you challenge a psychopath, they want to destroy you, because they have strong boundaries and they are willing to get their needs met at any at all costs, and they don't care who it hurts. And this is why it's so important, and this is why I think healthy people know when someone is dangerous. Like, we have like a sixth sense, right? We should. And this is the whole thing about abuse and everything, and this is why maybe you're in this, watch my videos and follow this channel, as I try and traverse the world and what it's all about. And that kind of struck me. I was like, I've been so in the weeds with people that don't, for all intents and purposes, don't have a margin of empathy. It's feigned empathy. It's fake. There's a lot of people that have masks that are often the opposite of how they really feel. That's what I get. And if they find when we all are human. That's what I've been saying in my videos, and we're trying to navigate the world. So people with no empathy find ways to, because we all have to, make a living and try and not be homeless, whatever, and get through this thing called life. And if it's true that if you don't have empathy, you're not human, it's like, wow, maybe maybe I'm just making excuses for those people. Their lack of empathy. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too grandiose, maybe too hyperbolic, too extreme, one or the other. But I'll stick with my original notion that we're all just human trying to get through life, and boundaries are for you, for the individual. So if you don't let someone in, they can't hurt you. You have to understand. It's important to understand. Obviously, in hindsight, people watching a lot of these videos are doing the deep work and figuring out things that have already, mollywopped them. I love that word, if that's even a word. Toxic people that they're trying to earn love from, and familiarity with toxic people that don't actually care about you. That's really what it comes down to. Do the people care about you? And when you're dealing with someone without empathy, they can't. And that's why it's so important. Back to a healthy person can usually tell, because if someone isn't authentic, that's the way I look at it. If someone isn't authentic, you can't trust them, because what they're projecting out into the world is anything that they're it's essentially it's a mask, and it's manipulation from the very get-go, because we all have certain masks. But if we're talking about the extremes, we all have to live in a society, and we can't just run around naked, and so we can. But anyway, but for the sake of argument, we know something's off because that person doesn't have a sense of self. That sense of self is, with narcissism, it's like the inner child died and everything is externalized. And with a person like that, they can't ever look at the truth. And anytime anything is remotely shedding light on that truth, that will incur a narcissistic injury, and watch out. It's often when you have needs and that person is, it's a double whammy, right? So someone that toxic with no empathy for you, and you give and give and give, because it's a codependent, toxic thing, right? Not only will they not help you that's why it's so confusing if you ever get discarded by a narcissist, because not only will they not help you when you are at your lowest point, but they will actually resent you for having needs, because it reminds them of their shortcomings. And to the extent that you push it and want them to change in moments like that, because they're not getting their needs met, that's all they care about, right? So if you have needs and you're resenting them for not being there for you after what you've done, and and you keep giving, they'll just keep taking, and then you're more effed up, and then they'll leave you and blame it on you, and it's really sick. That's really sick. It's a really sick human being, quote unquote, for the sake of this video. We'll call it human being, but that is the thought experiment. Is that even human anymore? If we all are connected, and if we're getting like super hippity dippity, and this is the thing. I believe in energy, and I believe in vibration. Like, we have a connection as humans, and some humans give nothing but take everything. And I couldn't even understand that. But there are people out there like that, and I don't know, are they human? Comment below if a psychopath is actually human. Because, it's hilarious. This is video, I'm making off of TED 2 and the courtroom scene, but the teddy bear, it's interesting that they said that as the first thing. They didn't talk about any of the body stuff. A human being, and what we share that other species don't, is like this connection. And I think that, if you don't have empathy for other people, it kind of, even if you're not actively harming someone, not connecting with them if they need it, if they, I just don't, it kind of is like all the good things about humanity is and living through life is the humility of ups and downs, and when things aren't going good, to be able to lean on someone. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've discovered in my healing journey is family and people in my life kicking me while I'm down, while the kindness of strangers building me back up. Literally complete strangers going out of their way to listen to me and to even protect me in certain instances. Just meeting people that have nothing to gain and just doing something out of the kindness of their heart, like when no one's watching. Like that is beautiful. And it further makes me realize that just how toxic and how off my radar was of individuals in that cluster B destructive personality type. But I think I'm on the other side. But yeah, so let me know below what you think about Post Malone down below. If you think if you're a human being, if you don't have empathy, if you have truly no empathy, are you human? I don't know about that one. I do not know about that one. Again, this is kind of a silly video. TED 2 got the topic on for this, but yeah, I'm gonna just spitball like I always do, and just talk about let's talk about empathy, narcissism, and psychopathy. Why do people even pick these people as to be in their life? I would argue, like I was alluding to before, the mask certain people wear so that they're undetectable, so they can make it through society and get their needs met. They often have a superficial charm. Narcissists tend to have an extreme extroverted, superficial, charming, grandiose, if they're grandiose narcissists, assuming, way about them, while a psychopath is calculated and usually can attract somebody because of their non-judgmentalness, believe it or not. I've met psychopaths that are so non-judgmental that they blur the lines between being like a saint as far as their judgmentalness, the way they judge, they don't judge, and the line between that and enabling and facilitating abuse, whether it's substances or anything. I think psychopaths, because they don't have empathy. This is why I lean towards, they are people. Because it's up to the individual to have boundaries and see what someone is like. And that's the slippery thing, is that if everyone was authentic, the world would just be a better place. Even psychopaths, they shouldn't have to hide. You don't have empathy, great. And you shouldn't have to wear a sign, but I don't know. That's a paradox. I just struggle with that, because there is pros and cons in everyone, and there's jobs that are great for people that are psychopaths, and that non-neurotic nature is just you can handle so much stress, while as a more empathic person is a little bit more volatile and neurotic a lot of the time. And then people in society want to push against that, that's bad, medicate them. That's the sickness of society now, is just empathy and connection is the cure to addiction. And the farther we get away from, again, here I've been being preachy. I don't know why I'm always preachy. That's my style, I guess. I want someone to argue with me. I say something, and then I want someone to disagree with it, and then we can meet in the middle. So I tend to put a position out there that's a little grandiose myself, But having said that, in case if I cut myself off, in case until we like connect authentically. And again, I'm probably thinking too much about this stuff. I have too much time on my hands. That's a problem. But whatever. It's getting me through it. If you're still watching this video, appreciate you. I mean, let me know what you think. I don't know. Yeah, so connection's the opposite of addiction. It's the cure to addiction, and we're very addicted. I'll be preachy. I don't care. I just want to be truthful. I just want to, just whatever I'm thinking. I just wanted. There's too. I just can't live in this world with just copium, fake crap. It's not. It's no bueno. And yeah, connection. It's unfortunate a lot of us are doing connection this way. It just doesn't work as well. If you guys are ever in Wisconsin, hit me up. We can connect. Anyway, I kind of just lost my steam there. That's the video about empathy and TED 2. Let me know what you guys think. If empathy is a prerequisite to being a human being. I've gone back and forth about it, but I ended with it not being a prerequisite. There is value in everyone. No one's better than anyone on a value basis. There's just how we are so different. We are so different. And some people get over on other people, and they don't see what's wrong with that. They don't see the problem with that. They're smarter, you're dumber. And I would argue that's not human, because that's creating human beings like acting like it's a poker game where someone has to lose, and that's very easily conflated with our culture, and especially late stage capitalism, where everyone's absolutely grasping at straws to try and find a way to get ahead and to have meaning and, you know, fix so many issues that are some not even real. Often, most of them are. But, you know, if you have problems, yeah, they are real, because if they're real to you, they do exist. But that's the point, is that it's a very there's a lot of mental going on right now, and so yeah, empathy, and connection. Talk to you guys later.